Welcome Nightfarers to the Ningen Plays channel, where we will be breaking down all 8 of the playable characters in Elden Ring Nightreign in these individual guide videos to help you decide which of them is right for you to jump in and face the challenges of the night. Today we are going to be talking about Duchess, the agile and stylish rogue or assassin type character who brings elegance and style to hunting down the threats of the night. Duchess uses a unique sidestep animation instead of the usual dodge roll employed by all other Nightfarers, and can combo this into faster dodging and flips in order to keep her hopping out of and back into the action at high speeds. She is a very high mobility character, very similar to a dex build that you'd be used to using in a Soulsborne game. Obviously a character who does not rely on blocking, but a character who relies on dodging for her defense. Her passive ability is called Magnificent Poise, the description of which is dodge and attack swiftly with reduced stamina cost. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously it ties in nicely with what we were just saying with her unique dodging style and her movement ability. She is able to dodge more than other characters using the same amount of stamina, which will allow for quick and consecutive movement. Essentially you will be moving pretty much at all times with this character, getting in with your fast light combos, dodging out of combat, dodging side to side, dodging back in towards the enemy. This is a character who excels at movement and getting between enemies in and out of fights very quickly. Now her main ability, which is the one that you will be using most often, is called Restage, and the description is reapply the last few seconds of team damage. Now this ability essentially replays the last couple of seconds of activity from the battlefield and repeats the damage to the targeted foe. So in the clip you can see Wilder uses his ultimate ability, and then Duchess restages this event, which causes the enemy to take big damage once again and be knocked down for the follow-up riposte attack. So this ability has huge potential, especially when coordinated with your team, in order to combine the maximum possible amount of damage and then have that restaged with the Duchess ability to be repeated all over again. Now this ability definitely is something that is going to take some time to get used to. I had the chance to try out all of the base characters that were in the network test during the network test, and obviously jumping straight in back then, we didn't really have much to go on. Nothing had been posted from the official sources like some of these guide videos that we've seen now from the actual From Soft Boys themselves, and so it was a little bit difficult at first to truly grasp what this Duchess ability was, because you can see when you use it you sort of get like a ghostly shadow effect of the enemy, of them taking damage again. So at first it was unclear essentially what exactly this ability was doing, but now that we have the proper official description and we can see some more clips from the new gameplay that's been coming out, this definitely seems like an ability that once you get the hang of using it, and as I've already mentioned, once you are able to coordinate big attacks with your teammates, this could be very powerful, right? We see in the clip, as I already said, Duchess is restaging the damage from Wilder's ultimate ability. You could easily combo this if you have your full team of 3. One of the characters we've already done the guide video on is the Raider, whose ultimate ability creates a monolith which gives all of your allies in the area of effect an attack buff. So you could imagine if you're running a 3-man team, Raider uses that ultimate to give everybody around him an attack buff. The second character, whether it's Wilder or somebody else, uses their ultimate in order to deal big damage to the enemy, and then Duchess is able to use her restage ability immediately afterwards to copy that ultimate damage whilst also still being affected by the Raider totem buff in order to do huge damage to the enemy. And when you consider that this is her normal ability, right, this isn't her ultimate, this is her normal ability, which you're going to be able to use at many opportunities throughout the run, throughout the 3-night cycle. So this has the potential to be very powerful. As I've already mentioned, it is something that definitely will take some getting used to. Once you have nailed down the timing, this is something that has a lot of potential, but of course until you get the hang of that timing, I can imagine a lot of people at first sort of misusing this and not really getting a huge amount of value until you have truly gotten the hang of it. So definitely a character that takes a bit of practice, takes a bit of getting used to, but the payoff for getting good with her and her abilities will definitely be very, very high. And then of course we have her ultimate ability, which is called Finale. Obscure nearby allies to hide from foes. Now this one is interesting because unlike some of the other Nightfarers we've already covered, this of course is not an attack ability. This is a defensive ability. So essentially Duchess coats the entire party with a cloak of invisibility, and you get a certain amount of time where you just are unseeable, undetectable to your enemies. You will essentially drop all aggro, and so this is something that can be very, very helpful in a number of situations. If you are still exploring the world, maybe running into an enemy camp to hunt down some loot, this can be used as a way to sneak in and get the drop on your enemies. Having all three members of your team could essentially go into the base and backstab some of the bigger enemies who it would be impossible to sneak up on, especially if they are formatted in such a way that they're all sort of looking at each other. This would be really, really good for getting the drop on enemy encampments and starting off an attack. And of course it can be just as valuable to use even in a boss fight itself if the team is in danger, if you're starting to get low on health and you really need that opportunity to sort of back up and heal, to regroup before you go back and get stuck in. This ability can of course help you to do that. Disguise your allies, get them away from the boss, everyone can heal up, and then you can go back in and continue the attack. So whilst she does not have an offensive ultimate ability, I'm sure you can see in a lot of situations this will be very, very powerful, and potentially, as we've already discussed, if used in a boss scenario, this could quite easily be the difference between keeping your party out of a situation where death would be imminent and then losing the night, right? So definitely a very, very strong effect for her ultimate. It is of course very situational. It's not one of those things where, like with a lot of characters whose ultimate is an attack, you're going to want to throw it out like straight away in a boss fight. It's something that's a little bit more tactical, but I do think that balances nicely with her restage ability, because that will be the ability that she's going to use that will give the most consistent damage output, especially along with your allies' ultimate abilities, and then she is able to use her ultimate ability more defensively as a way to keep the team out of trouble in the bigger boss fights, and as we said, to initiate smaller conflicts with a element of surprise. So this character definitely very, very interesting. Like I say, the more dex build, if you're used to rocking a light weapon dodge defense based character, then Duchess could certainly be the Nightfarer for you. Not a character designed for tanking or for dealing big damage in each consecutive hit. You know, she's not going to be rocking a two-handed sword. Obviously, certain characters you can equip different weapons, but you're not going to be as proficient. You want to get your hands on as many powerful single-handed quick fire weapons as you can, and then Duchess is going to be able to dish out some very serious damage while keeping herself safe with her quick mobility, restaging multiple different effects from your team to repeat damage, and then that ultimate ability to keep the team safe is the icing on the cake. So definitely a very solid and interesting character. Looking forward to getting to grips with her once the full game comes out. Do let me know down below in the comment section which of the characters you are most looking forward to playing as. Is Duchess a character that fits the kind of playstyle that you enjoy in a Soulsborne game? Do let me know down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. Make sure you do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Tons of Nightreign content coming, and when the game drops we'll be doing all sorts of guides, challenge runs and everything, so make sure you stick around, and I will see you guys out there. Peace out.